Okay, so today we want to look at importing existing infrastructure in Terraform into Terraform. So let's start by just creating some EC2 instance manually, and then we can demonstrate how we can handle the situation with this instance. So what we want to do is have an EC2 instance. I just want an EC2 instance. Let's just give it that's import. Test instance. And yeah, not much to choose there. I don't want a key name. I want it's in my default network for now. Default VPC. Let's see. Not create security group use or business. Yeah, I would also choose this default VPC security group for now. And yeah, I'm not placing. We just want some existing. Oh, okay. Let's proceed without key pair. Not recommended. But we don't need to access the instance meta. So we have this EC2 instance, for example, that we have in our cloud environment. And the question is now, if we want to manage this instance using Terraform. So for example, if I wanted to change the instance type, I probably have to stop the instance and then modify the instance type and then restart it. But that's manually. But or if I want to delete the instance, I have to do all those actions, terminate instance. I can do that manually. But let's say we have many of them and also a lot of resources in the cloud environment. And we wanted to start managing them also using Terraform, so that in the future, if we want to like maybe delete these instances, we also can easily just do something like Terraform destroy. And also other benefits that come with using Terraform, we can then benefit from managing our infrastructure using Terraform. So how do we get to tell Terraform about this infrastructure so that we can now do our operations, infrastructure management through Terraform on this existing infrastructure without having to delete them manually and then recreate them with Terraform. So let's look at, let's open our usual repository. I would go to, let's see, I would go then to, let's see, this is still, I would go here. I would create another folder just to demonstrate Terraform. I would just write the existing infrastructure. So there you would then know this is the folder in which I demonstrated how to how to import existing infrastructure in Terraform. Okay. So we want to start managing our infrastructure using Terraform. So I go, okay. And since this is an EC2 instance, the first thing you if you would start managing your infrastructure using Terraform, of course, let me see. What's the Terraform version? Okay, so this option for now is for Terraform for version 1.5 onwards. So let's start with maybe something that is more general or applicable to other versions. So I would do let's see. So you need, first of all, let's just start with the provider, as we usually have. Region, as opposed to US is one. So I'm trying to maintain the region in which the infrastructure is created. So that's one thing you have to do. Not the AWS, remember the provider is AWS provider. Okay. And now we also so you would have to also create the main.tf file, of course, that you're using, that you would use to manage in the folder where you will be managing your infrastructure. Next thing is that then you should do something like creating a resource block. So in this case, we have an AWS instance, and let's give it the name test instance. Yeah, test instance. One here, and so it's and now you have to say the AMI is equals to unknown. Just give some value unknown, and you also say instance type, for example, is equals to unknown. And this is just a sample block. You can, other values can be specified there. I mean, other things, you don't, the values are, the goal is just to have this block that will represent the particular result that you want to bring into Terraform. And in that case, in this case, we have an EC2 instance. So of course the block has to be AWS instance. And we're just putting these. I think if you go to the Terraform Terraform documentation, those are required. Terraform, uh, AWS. Terraform, provider registry. AWS. So so if I have this instance, this one, we come here to the attribute agreement reference. Okay, AMI is also optional. Let's see. Is there anything that is required? Required. So in reality, they are not even required. Those ones, I thought they would be required.
What about the VPC option too?
So let's see the
VPC.
by default, it will go to the default VPC.
Okay.
So I was thinking that those ones are required, but see AMI now is also, if an AMI is specified in the noise, required, so it's required unless it's specified in the noise. So this one is required unless it's, so we are not using a launch template. Where is instance type? Instance type optional required unless launch template. So yeah, those ones. So you have to watch out for these features that these things that might be required under certain conditions. So since we're not using the launch template, we have to specify those ones, but the other ones are totally optional. Okay. So
Yeah.
pardon?
I say okay.
Yeah. So now when you do this, when you've done this for this infrastructure, I cover close it here. Then next you have to run the import command, which is Terraform. So I run Terraform in it again. Provider blocks.
Let's
see, I think I might be something. Why is the main? Yeah. Okay, yeah. I see. So let's use this also. Are you going to use that? But one label's name. What's that? Oh, Why is it taking so long? So
by using the option unknown will help you to import the
no, it just these parameters are required. So for now, you have to just provide some value. It must not be unknown. It could have just been X, Y, Z, Y, Z, something, right?
okay.
It's it's not valid values. Yeah. Now, the Terraform. So now that we've done the init, we need to do the Terraform import command. Terraform import, and since we're importing something to this block, what we do, we write AWS. Sorry. We write AWS underscore instance dot test instance one. And now, because there could be many AWS instances in the cloud, in your cloud environment, what you do, you have to specify the instance ID. This one. This is unique for each instance.
Okay.
Are we together?
Yes.
Yes.
What you are saying now is that this block that you just created here would manage this instance, would be should you want to import this instance into this block. So if I paste the value there again, I would put the command in the somewhere just for you to be able to have it easily later, and then followed by instance ID. Yep. Whatever. So it might be different for you when you need to do this import. Okay. When you're running the Terraform import command, this instance ID might be different. So you need to replace this with the right value.
Yeah.
So, but it's not a nice idea to put those things there. I'm just putting so you look at, you can have access to it even if you don't watch the recording. But yeah. Okay, so if we do import, you see the import command. I want to also see what comes there clearly. Okay, so import successful. Import. So basically, the instance now is this, but you see nothing has changed here. But where do we find information about the state, about the infrastructure, about what Terraform knows about the infrastructure that it is managing? Where does Terraform store information about the infrastructure it is managing?
The state file.
Yeah,
Instance state.
in the Terraform TF state file, right? So
Yeah.
if I open it, it's even better now. You can see that it has a lot of information about the instance. So resources, managing type, the resources,
There
AWS,
is this instance one.
this one,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
And you can see the MI and the real one is provided there, right? And I can also show you that the other values match. So instance didn't have
The instant ID is there also.
the instance.
ID.
Where is it?
Yeah, the name of the instance is there.
This one.
Yes.
Yes. But the name of the
But
instance will be somewhere in the tags, that is always in the tag related to the instance. What I wanted to say, okay, the
Yeah,
ID
that's the ID. Yeah.
it's valid to match this, right?
Yes.
But I wanted to show other things then. I mean, these are things that you would find. You see, launch template. These are things that you would just need to specify if you are doing it from here, right? If you
Yeah.
are doing all of it by yourself, all of it, password data. I'm not sure that one comes from Terraform, but yeah, it's part of the API from. So you see, private IP, it's there. Where's our instance? This public IP 35.17.86.203 is there. Private IP, I can show it down here. This is it, 172.3.1.4.5.
Yeah.
Same. Yeah. What else? So I wanted a tax name. Aha. So this one. You see?
yeah, the first name is the one that you gave it on Terraform, the Terraform.
Yeah, the Terraform like kind of ID. Yeah.
Okay, yeah. Right.
So
There are two names too.
yeah, you've always known that, right? The name you place in Terraform and the name that is in the tags is different. The Terraform block name is different. This one is different from this one.
Yeah, because sure there's a space.
Yeah, but this one is the AWS instance name. With the tag name, if you go to the tags of the instance, you would see that where's well, details, tags, okay. You see, you will see this is a tag in the instance, but this one is something used only within Terraform. Okay, and that's why
Yeah.
you see when they import, it says it gives this name as the name within the name. It specifies that it's the name, the block name is this, but also the name of the instance in AWS. All of these information are information recognized within AWS.
Okay.
Yeah. So actually, that's more like the name of the block, the Terraform resource, the name of the Terraform resource, this one. Yes. And this other one, you can then see it as the name of the Terraform of the AWS
Instance.
resource, which in this case is an AWS EC2 instance. Yeah. Okay. So now that is imported, okay. What next do we do? So now we know this information from Terraform state file. For example, we know that the what's that? AMI is this. Okay, so we should update the information also, the right AMI. We also know the instance type, T2 micro. I mean, if you already knew the values, you could have also put it at the beginning. What I just indicated there by unknown is that they are not required to be valid at that time, but now you are doing this because I have not yet saved the file. Okay, so if I
Yeah.
sorry, if I do Terraform plan. There is something. You see, it plans to add one resource. Do you see?
Okay, I found this on the web for as it implants to add one resource. Check it out.
Very
Sorry, my own computer is. And they say Siri should not listen. Siri is listening. Okay. So, you see, it's showing that it plans to add one resource, right? And
Yes.
Yeah.
you can see that it's going to add a resource. So it's going to replace it, basically. Must be replaced. So it actually has imported, but there are still things to be changed. So and now if you do an apply, there will be things to be changed because it's still the configuration still has this one, but the Terraform state has these ones, right?
Yeah.
So you need to now copy these values from the Terraform state to make sure that they match in particular these two values, because this is what makes your instance different from the existing one. You see, it says the AMI needs to be, the instance must be replaced. Why? Because the AMI changing this to this forces a replacement, but in reality you don't want to change this to this. This were the unknown was just there to do the import. So after the import, you should change unknown back to this. And there's also T2 micro. Where's T2 micro? The instance type. Yes, it has to change to unknown again. So why? Because we still had unknown in the configuration, but the state file was having T2 micro. So now that I have updated the configuration, okay, if I do Terraform plan again, in that case, then Terraform doesn't see any difference with the existing configuration and the state file. You see, so not that it doesn't see any difference, but the values that are there, for example, these are not different. For example, so it doesn't changing an AMI actually forces a replacement, but you see now what Terraform now knows is that it has to add a name of the instance. From nothing, it has to introduce these other values, just these tags.
Exactly.
So before the tag was there was no it was not empty, there was no name in the configuration, but now it has to put the configuration with the name test in space instance one. So if you also even just go ahead and say tags I think that's equals to the, and then you do name equals to test instance,
Instance one.
instance one. Is it supposed to be name in quotes? How do I even forget this? Check. Oh no, not true.
Not in code.
So yeah, also okay. So basically, so then you see if I do again Terraform plan. So when you import, the more you match the configuration with what is in the state file, the more safer your infrastructure is from being replaced or from being destroyed and recreated. Okay, so
So what is the difference with importing now and just creating this file, copying the configuration from the console and placing it on the file and running Terraform apply?
You mean
That is what I was trying to explain to you, that you can copy
you mean to come and copy this?
No,
No, I mean
the instant created.
like you have the AMI, the instance type. We could just check this from the console, then write this main.tf file with the same parameters as the one on the console and run. What happens if we do that?
Then the instance is just another instance is just created because Terraform
Yes.
does not know about this other one.
Okay.
Importing one is adding the information to the state file that okay, this block is like this, the instance is already created. So we just want you to associate this block and the instance that is being created.
Okay. I
Right.
understand now. Yeah.
Yes, because if we don't do that, Terraform would not know that okay, there's an instance in the cloud environment, and it will just create the new instance, even if it has everything the same.
Okay.
Yes, but when you import, Terraform then knows, then write to the state file, okay, this block, the information already, there's already an instance for it. What I just need to do now is to check in the next plan or apply if the instance is still the same as in the configuration. If the instance is the same as in the configuration. And that's why when we do plan, Terraform checks this against this and not against any other thing.
Okay.
Right? It's actually checking. If we had two instances here with different names, you will see Terraform would know that this block is for this instance because we had done import with this ID. Import this ID. Is that okay?
Yes, sir, I understand now.
Q.
Yeah. So that's the important part of the app import, because your configuration is always there. Then there's the state file, and then there's what is really there in reality in the cloud environment, right? So usually with Terraform, the usual pattern, you create the configuration, do a Terraform apply. The Terraform apply creates the cloud environment and writes this information in the Terraform state file that it has created this infrastructure with these IDs and all of this information. Now, if you change the configuration, so your main.tf file or other TF files, Terraform apply next time doesn't recreate the whole infrastructure. It checks what is the difference between the configuration and what is written in the state file. That's why you should not edit your state file. What is the difference? The Terraform the Terraform checks that, and then when it sees any difference, it checks whether this is the kind of difference I can just update, or I need to delete the resource and recreate again. Now, when you go from through that stage, it's always, so you always have those three things: the configuration, the state file, and the infrastructure, the real infrastructure in the cloud environment. Now, you're going now the other way instead. In this situation, you already have the cloud environment with the infrastructure created, but you don't have the configuration nor the state file. So what you're doing now is you create a mock configuration, so to say, and then ask Terraform to match this configuration with what is with what is in the cloud, like to say link this configuration to be for the infrastructure that is already created. Then what Terraform, and in that, by doing Terraform import, what you're basically saying is writing to the state file, that this infrastructure that exists, this is the configuration for the infrastructure. And then next Terraform apply would then immediately say, then immediately find out whether the existing configuration that you had matched with the existing infrastructure, is there any difference? If there is differences, Terraform apply would update the infrastructure, the existing infrastructure. If there are no differences, good. Terraform apply will not update the existing infrastructure. So that's why when you do import, it is important for you to make sure that these differences are smoothened out, and these differences are smoothened out, and there is no missing information. Why? Because if you leave out something and then do a Terraform apply, it might delete the infrastructure, and that's not what you wanted, to recreate a new one. Then maybe some things might, even more things might be lost. Okay.
Okay. So in this case, we imported just an instance, right? If you want to import several other resources, how do we do it?
Yes, so you have to create the blocks for all those resources.
Okay, and in the command?
And in the command, all resources have their IDs, right?
Yes.
Yes, you also have to do Terraform import that ID, Terraform. I don't know. I'm not so sure if you can do like import. No. So
all at once.
No, because the resources will have different. So you have.
Okay.
Yeah. So maybe okay, yeah. Maybe it will. I've not tried. Whether you can repeat this part. So just write Terraform import this followed by ID, that followed by ID, and so forth.
Okay.
But yeah, you would have to run that. Now, of course, that brings now the question. So if I have 50, 100 resources, I have to run Terraform import several times, which is not good. If I have to do, or if I have 50 resources, I have to do the like copy the ID and do this paste if possible, which doesn't really look clean also. So another thing that you could do, so now we have this one, let's create our second test instance.
You have a question?
Yes, that is go ahead.
Now that we have imported the instance, I want to know if we have two instances running.
No, we don't have two instances running. Importing just says this configuration now manages the existing instance. So you see, I have, so now, okay, now I show you this Terraform instance imported. I change the name, okay?
Yeah.
And so now, so that's the idea, the goal, right? That after when I bring in the infrastructure into Terraform, I can manage it through Terraform. So now, see, if I say Terraform apply, so I want to now, instead of coming here and changing the name of the instance, right?
Mm.
And editing here and so forth, the development. Okay, instance one development, I can just say, I come here and I say development with cap like this. Okay.
Yeah.
That's just a very easy change, but imagine if there were more things, or the goal is just to think, now can we fix make changes on the instance from Terraform? If I do Terraform plan, you will see this. So again, I have told you there's always the real infrastructure, the Terraform state file, and then the configuration. Now, when Terraform plan finishes, you would see one thing, the importance of keeping that in mind. See, Terraform plan is saying he needs to change test dev to test instance development one. Yeah. Okay, this is interesting. I expected that it was the state file would still know the old name, would still have the old name in mind.
But you have edited it.
So maybe it's updated because I changed this manually. Or maybe the state file, okay, when I do plan, it checks what is up there again. Yeah. Okay. And then tries to see if there's a difference. So you see now, if I do apply, it will now, it doesn't create a new instance. It just changes the tag name to development. Listen, it just changed the tag name to test instance one development. If I do Terraform apply, so it's not a new instance. You can also tell by the fact that the ID remains the same. Okay, so
yeah.
So the import is just, it's just tying two things together: the configuration files and the infrastructure that is existing, the real infrastructure, by creating the Terraform state to say this configuration is for this infrastructure, or this infrastructure that exists is for this configuration. And if I change something in this configuration, it means it has to be changed on this particular infrastructure. So just have it in mind this way. It's not new resources. Or ask yourself, like, when I create infrastructure in Terraform, using Terraform apply, and I do again Terraform apply, why doesn't it create new resources every time I do apply? Because the state file sees that those resources already exist. You see, that's the development there. It didn't take that long because it was not really creating an instance, it's just modifying.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah, the reason I was asking the question is that when we run Terraform apply, we then go to the console to see if the resources are created.
Yes.
That's what I was trying to find out.
Yes, and sometimes also when you run Terraform apply, the resources are not created. Resources, or if the resources were already created, there's no change. There's nothing to change. So Terraform apply does nothing. For example, if I run Terraform apply again, the one we just ran, Terraform apply now. So the existing resources are the same as in the Terraform state file. Nothing has changed. So it's apply complete resource 0. This is nothing to change. So it doesn't ask you those questions about enter yes and that, because there's really nothing to change.
Yeah.
Okay. So if you created 10 resources in Terraform configuration and ran 10 Terraform apply, and then the resources were created in AWS, for example, and then you do again Terraform apply just maybe a minute after, would there be now 20 resources in AWS?
No.
Why?
Because it's the same resources that we.
Yes, so they are already created. Terraform state file already has this information, already knows that these resources have been created already, right?
Yeah.
So if you do it immediately after the first apply finishes, nothing is created, because as soon as the resources are created, they are reported in Terraform state file. So import here is just reporting that this resource, reporting in the Terraform state file that the resource associated to this configuration has been created. Now the next apply, in reality, shouldn't create the resource again. But what happens is that if your mock configuration was not complete, like in the case we had unknown and all of those things, if it was not complete, then Terraform apply will try to change the existing infrastructure to match the mock configuration. That's why you're updating the mock configuration rather to match the existing infrastructure, the existing values in the state file. This is only for this situation. You can to avoid the destruction, or this is used also when you want to match changes that were done manually and avoid a redo, or and avoid them to be undone. You want to bring in changes that were done manually. So for example, I add another tag. This. Can I tap this? Manage tags. So if I add another tag, team, and I put here 001. So now the instance has another tag, and it has been modified manually. Now also, then later we discovered that was done manually, and maybe a new employee didn't know that he had to go through Terraform. What you can just do is then come to your Terraform code also and put team equals to Yeah, there's 0.0.0.1. In that way, Terraform, when you do Terraform plan, it will not try to undo the change, because if I didn't do Terraform plan, okay, I should have okay, I will show you again. Why is it taking so long? Yeah, so you see no changes again. But if I didn't do anything, let's say I added another new tag, stage, and I put development. Okay. So a new tag has been added, for example, stage development, and I don't update. So they've done some change manually, and I don't update them in my configuration. Terraform would identify that has to be removed because it was not supposed to be there. You see, it's saying that it needs to remove the tag stage and change to nothing. It has to change that. So in order to avoid that, you should then just come and add it in your configuration. But yeah, the ideal situation would have been to do all of the changes you need to do via your Terraform configuration. Okay. Now, okay, let's create a second instance, and we demonstrate the new another way of importing it. Let's see this. The channel is still here. So we now have two instances. One is already being managed within Terraform, which is good. And the other is not yet within Terraform. So what do we do? So another way we could do this, which is valid for Terraform version 1.5 upwards, just take note. What we could do is to write import. So first we need to think
the Terraform import.
Yeah, import. We need to specify the ID, and then we need to specify to which block. So I have to create again resource, AWS instance, this instance. I put to this and AMI, ABC, instance type. we can also use the real value expected. It's fine. Just in the end, we still have to okay. Okay, there is the option of maybe let's not do this. So we just write the let's put the ID there. Okay. And then let's say that the block should be AWS instance. No, this should not be imported, right? So instance that that's and then I need to then you run Terraform plan. So plan, but this time you add the dot the option generate config out config dash out, and let's say we put it in generated configuration.cl config.cl. So what we're basically saying here is you already have some resource that you're managing. Then you want to import another one that was manually created. So you create this block. Important. So no, if you should, so you see this file is now automatically created and the instance is there. It's T2 micro IP address is also there. Oh, that's a private IP. Okay. Oh yeah, it is this one. 172.3.1.4.2.174 is there. Name is test instance 2 is there also. So it's the but so you don't want to then have to update the configuration manually also. So this is another way of going about it. Just you see everything is imported into the file. that I specified in the command when I ran the plan. So this is the command Terraform generate generate so I can just put it here for your reference again. So the name of the file you want it to be created, generated config is there. But yeah, I don't know why this is. Okay. I think maybe it's having conflict with the existing infrastructure. Because you can see here that is not there. Yeah. But why did it? Okay, so perhaps you shouldn't do this together with this block. So excuse me for now. Let's move this. I will copy this for now, and then import existing. So inside this one, I will do the new way. I just want to import the other instance. So I just want to import the instance 2 with the new approach. Maybe mixing the two, the existing infrastructure with this new import is an issue. But yeah, so I will go to see the existing 2, yeah, and then I will run Terraform init. Also there. Yeah, and then I will do Terraform plan, yeah, generated the config. So I'm again asking it to generate the config file, but put it in generate config.tf. So again, you remember this instance ID is from here. Oh, it shouldn't be in server. I see. Let's move this up here. I need to close this file and this. Then let's delete this. So we start with the clean. Yeah. Yes. Yeah. Okay. Nice. I will just copy this content there. It's the you have to not mix two Terraform infrastructure. So I use infrastructure. Cool. So again, just remember this is just for the new approach. I put main.cf there. That's fine. And then I do it. Okay. So Terraform init again. We are back to here. Hello, Titus, you still there? Tatiana?
Yes, we're there too.
Alice, you go.
Yes, so but distracted.
I'm not.
I'm not yet finished the content, you know.
The second round.
Okay.
So if we run this now, so this is, so you would just rather create these blocks and then generate the infrastructure that needs to be managed. So now I'm generating the infrastructure again, at least out of the I hope it doesn't give issues again.
So this is the second method, right?
Yes, this is the second method. So instead of doing Terraform import and all of that, what's happening? See, there's a warning: generating configuration during the import is experimental, and the generated configuration may change in future versions. So that's okay. So let's not generate anyway. That's one way to go about it. We could also just import the normal way instead of so if I am right, then you can do Terraform. Oh, it's a Terraform import. But just So it's saying there's conflict with IP version 6 of the line 15. Let's see. Okay. Okay, let's do Terraform plan and see what the difference will be. Terraform plan. Where's line 19? Oh, okay. Let's remove that and also remove this. So since it's still experimental, it's something you might want to be careful how you use it. Okay. So it plans to import one to import, 0 to add, and yeah. So if you do that, then you can write. So here you have now 2 stages. This is saying it has 1 to import, so you know that they will import 1 resource, and then 0 to add and so forth. Now, if you do Terraform apply, it really doesn't create the resource. It's just update the Terraform state file. So before it's yeah, will be imported. So this is not really creating resources. Say yes, indicator will be imported. I do yes. It just immediately finish the import complete. So if I want to go back to Yes. Before also, and I think if we try the same thing. Oh, did I delete the did I delete the other state files? Okay, the recording is there. I think I mistakenly delete some files. Oh, I cannot see the. So okay. So basically the error was just with some IP version 6 stuff. So I removed those ones, and then you see that the infrastructure now is reachable, is imported, and yeah, this is the main.cf file, and this is the config file. So even if I do Terraform apply again, they wouldn't need to import it anymore, because it's already written to state file as imported. I should expect so. Yeah. And yeah, the instance is here. Now you can also then manage your resource. See, no changes. So it's not like you have to remove this block letter. It's just going to be there. And but you can, of course, because if you already have the configuration, there's no need for that instance. And we can do a little demonstration again with the name and name tag. So yeah, where's name tags? The tag, yeah, we can add another tag here. Theme front end. And if we do Terraform apply, so we're changing the tags of the test instance to there's just one. Or what's happening? Did I not save the change? No. Let's see. Let's hope to use that. Okay. Let's remove this guy. Might be then it's leaving to us. I see what. Oh, what is it? I was thinking, yeah, it's the same file. So do we need? Ah, wait, should this be here? I made a mistake. No tax and nothing. Okay, yeah, that was the issue. So now you can manage your infrastructure using this file also. And if I do, so you see now, plan plan is saying they will add that tag. And if I do apply, yes. When you apply, you should add that to the instance tags. Yeah, that's it. Team front end. Okay. Unfortunately, I think I deleted. So let me do Terraform destroy now for this particular one. And then see if I can be lucky with the other one, because I think I destroyed more than was. I deleted files there that were not supposed to be deleted. Or I can do also import of that one and destroy. Yeah. But basically, I can don't need to go the long way. So with Terraform managing it, I should have just been able to destroy. But I'm using the Terraform destroy command. Delete the instance using the Terraform destroy command. But in this case, I think since I deleted the files, the state file, I would go through the terminate instance approach. So I've terminated state instance 1 manually, but instance 2 has been deleted by Terraform, the case where through the files that we imported. So basically we are now having infrastructure. We have seen how to import existing infrastructure into Terraform. That was very simple cases. Maybe next week we will look at importing into modules alongside a general overview of what we've done in Terraform so far, so that by the end of this month we are rounding off with Terraform. Yeah. Okay. Thank you for attending WirfonCloud Labs. Let's stop the recording now. Unless you have questions, we can discuss the questions offline also. Yeah.